And for you folks who are new to our area, we used to have a power plant, a coal-fired electrical generation plant sitting right here in Laughlin. It had been back in the 70s, I think it was built. And back in the 70s, it was modern, and it was put here because there was nobody else around, nobody to worry about it. And so it was put up without any real regulations causing it to watch its emissions. Well, as the area became more and more populated, the smoke coming out of the stack became more and more of a concern to people, and people are got these breathing problems. And you could follow the smoke trail of the coal all the way down to Blythe, for crying out loud, or all the way up practically to Las Vegas, and some say into the Grand Canyon from this thing. About halfway through its life, there was discussion about putting scrubbers in. Now, the plant was originally built, from what I understand, with the opportunity, with the ability to put scrubbers in it. I mean, they had it set, but it was very expensive at the time, $2 million. So they just decided, well, we won't do it right now because why worry about it? All we're going to do is, choke up a few bunny rabbits and coyotes. Well, as it came around, it got worse and worse and worse. Now, remember, all this time, all these years, the plant is aging, and there's a lifespan of these huge buildings and these things that are so vital to our economy and the economy of Laughlin, actually, at the time, and Bullhead City. So the plant was allowed to continue burping all of this ugly ash into the air. And it would have been, and it is, and it can be controlled. It can be a clean burning fuel. But this plant, owned by 3 or 4 different power companies, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and NV Energy, right, decided they didn't want to spend the money on it because they knew the plant was going to be destroyed pretty soon, that it was no longer going to be here, so why would they put money in it? So they ran it. They fought in court for years and years and years, and finally, Sierra Club and others in the EPA got it shut down. Bottom line is now this Republican Party, at least through the president, wants to start looking at coal as a fuel for a clean burning fuel, a fuel that can be used to provide energy. So we aren't, we're trying to get less and less dependent on countries outside the United States. And we have coal banks that are just absolutely unbelievable. In fact, Lynn's dad has a farm ranch up in Pennsylvania, and he bought another piece of property up there about 15 years ago, and it's even got a coal mine on it, for crying out loud.
Really?
Yeah, it's just all kinds of coal up there. So, and it's all over the country, and I don't know if you've seen in Wyoming the coal pits, but nonetheless, I digress. So here we are, we've got this opportunity to use this coal to burn fuel, and to burn as fuel cleanly, without destroying the environment, without causing health issues, and there are those who just are absolutely against it, and you have to ask why. Who would be against something like that? Wait a minute, would it be the oil companies, possibly? Would it be those who have money invested in oil companies? I don't know. But there is a way to make coal burning clean. And so when you hear about it, and I know people out there saying, oh my God, he's talking about burning coal. It can be done, and it can be done conservatively. At least that's what the top scientists are saying. But they're going to have to spend some money to do it with anything. So, Trump's coming off of this. He's taken us off of this track that we were on. And I think you can see it. It's actually getting derailed a little bit because we were just going to the point where you weren't even going to be able to breathe without having something to cleanse your breath before it went out as this continued on. And Sam, you want to add to that?
Oh yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to find that equal balance between, coal is carbon. You burn carbon, you're going to get carbon dioxide. It's a pretty simple chemical reaction, but it's a very inexpensive fuel because it's so abundant. And the idea that you can't burn it cleanly, well, it's not a matter of burning it cleanly. It's making sure, as you mentioned before, the scrubbers, for instance, the idea of scrubbers is to take that out before it actually gets into the air. It can be done.
Yes.
And is it going to cost them more money than just spewing it out? Absolutely. It's going to cost more money for them to make sure that it's under control, but it can be done. That's the thing. And I agree with you. I think the oil companies have something to do with it. I also think the people that are trying to prop up solar power energy, there's a lot of money invested by the federal government. There's a lot of subsidies from the federal government. There's a lot of money being spent on solar power. I think they don't want coal either.
Right. Or your windmill chasers like Harry Reid and whatnot.
Exactly. They don't want coal, but it can be done. Is it going to cost them some money? Absolutely. And I think it's something, and I'm glad to see that the president is taking us off that track. Renewable energies have their place in our portfolios, if you will, of the energy that you create. They do, but people aren't ready to pay the amount of money it's going to take to make those work.
Right.
And especially if it can be made for less expensive price, and coal provides that for you.
I think we've got a lot of other things to worry about too, like desalinization of our ocean water.
Yep.
So we can have more water and we don't have to worry about these droughts, although came out of it a little bit, but that's not to say that another 5 years where the lake is run dry, because it could very well happen. That we just seem to, don't worry about it. We'll find water someplace. We'll go drain it out of northern Nevada. That's what we'll do.